Good morning, Vietnam. No, just sorry.
Oh God.
Sorry.
Ooh,
It is 11 a.m. on a hi, welcome to the Damage for Podcast.
that's that 11 a.m. energy right there,
Yeah,
man.
that's right. It is 11 a.m. on Saturday,
I wasn't ready for that.
July 6th. We have just everyone's still celebrating the independence out here in this tourist town that I live in. It is
Ah,
insane. People are I saw five ambulances this morning, so that tells you where we're at.
yeah,
Driving
I mean, you know,
wise
you, you,
and
these rednecks around here really don't need, much of a reason to set shit on fire and explode things. So
Do you hear
it's
like
like,
gunshots too? They're gunshots. What you got? What you
oh,
got going on?
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's so. The last two places that I've lived down here, anytime there's like any kind of like event or holiday where like fireworks are somewhat, encouraged, I get to play gunshots or fireworks, and I never know. It's a
Uh,
really fun game to play.
that is a fun game. You
Yeah.
know what? When I used to work at the bookstore out here in the Hamptons, um, I used to play this game every summer called Is It Their Daughter or Girlfriend?
Mm.
Because
What,
these like old rich dudes would walk in with like this young
I was
woman.
about to say, yeah,
Yeah,
that's my
and
problem. Yeah,
you'd
that's
have to figure out by their dynamic if they were a daughter or if they were banging them. So it was a really fun game to play because
yeah,
it always ended up being somebody they were dating.
yeah. Yeah, it's funny you bring that up. The latest kind of YouTube rabbit hole, ridiculous shit that I've gone down is
hmm
like body cam videos for police,
Oh, sure.
and there are a surprising, or maybe not surprising, I guess, amount of videos uh, on several channels that all seem to come out of Key West, Florida,
Oh, sure.
and a lot of it is rich drunk dudes who just got their asses beat by the is it their girlfriend or daughters they're with. So yeah, I've actually experienced that, not firsthand, but that's been a recurring theme for me this week.
That's great. Yeah, that body cam stuff, man. That's great. That's like found. This is organic found footage. It's so
That's
good.
exactly what it is. Yeah, yeah.
Doesn't
Well, I
get
think
it.
what caused it is that game, right? Isn't that like a new game that's out or about to come out or something?
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about video games looking like that, but
Right. But I
I
think that's how they like ended up popping up in my algorithm. And I'm such a
oh yeah.
simple minded person that I started watching them, and now I'm just like, that's all I want to watch.
I think we'll get to this later when we talk about like realistic looking video games and
Hmm.
that I think I think it's more of a me problem than it's a game problem, but
Okay.
we'll talk about that. Um we're here today to talk about Hellblade 2 The Streets. Hellblade 2.
They're not going to the streets until at least four. Come on now.
Yeah.
You know how this
Hellblade
works.
2 in space.
Six is in space. Okay. Four is the streets. You know how this works.
Hellblade 6 Bloodlines.
It's the leprechaun model, man. Like,
Yo, Hellblade 2 Senua's pissed. That's Hellblade 2 Electric Boogaloo. I was trying to think of all the funny
all the
Hellblade
twos. Yeah.
2 yeah, sequel. The much anticipated follow-up to 2017's Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice. We have Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, which is a good game that I feel like, and we will talk about it, might have came out at the wrong time,
Yeah.
but it's a good video game. And if you like the first and don't like this one, I don't there's something fucking wrong with you. I don't know what to
Yeah.
tell you.
I mean, yeah.
I was going back and reading reviews of the first Hellblade and like the response to it from everybody, and I was like, this is literally the same game, and you could apply the same points, and it's only like 6 hours of your time. What are you complaining about?
I didn't read reviews because I don't do that anymore. So I'm excited to get to that when we
Yeah.
start talking about Hellblade.
Hmm.
I'm curious to hear what the people's. I know I've seen like obviously like the hot takes from the well informed humans on Twitter and shit like that, but
Sure. Yeah.
who
The
are
echo chamber.
going to hate it regardless because it's an Xbox thing. But um, I haven't really read reviews or anything.
Yeah. I would say lukewarm was the response to Hellblade
Hmm,
2, which I think is kind of stupid. I don't know.
that's disappointing. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll get into it. Um, but we have spent the last few months building up to more or less this. We've been kind of tackling a few projects by Ninja Theory, and to see where they came from and where they are now. And I think there's some things that you could point out in the Hellblade games that were like, you know, things that they have done previously that I see kind of mirrored in these games. I think mostly with like the photorealism and the motion capture stuff that they were always really big on. They
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
they
I
kind of
certainly.
they kind of turned it up to 11 with this one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that things like enslaved crawled so that Senua could walk, so to scale it
Yeah,
in. Like, yeah,
exactly.
and I'm
100%.
100% behind that whole their whole like thing with the first game where they were like, we want to, we're a small studio that but we want to make AAA experiences at like a double A price or whatever.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
like that, and then so that's why I bought the first game, and
Mhm.
also I mean it looked really dope. Um,
Mhm.
God, it just blew me away. But part of the fun of having done this with you is that like like I said, I knew Bungie, but outside of that, I never really paid much attention to like a studio, and so like
Mhm.
us going through, I think a lot of their catalog, it's been really like eye opening and very interesting to have followed their progression.
Yeah, and I think they stumbled quite a bit. Not I don't think they as a team stumbled, but like factors around them made them stumble
Mm-hmm.
financially, and just to see them kind of be persistent, and Tameem being just the wacky weirdo that he is, to keep making these games. So yeah, I'm excited to kind of pick that apart a little bit in a bit. Um, we are going to talk about the last time. It's been like a month or more since we spoke, and there's been a lot of things that happened. Uh, Xbox had a pretty good showcase. It seemed like everyone
Yeah,
was like down on Xbox, and then they had a good showcase, and they're like, "Oh, they're not villains anymore." It's like,
you're
guys,
right.
okay. I mean, it was a good showcase for sure, but I'm pretty excited for a lot of stuff that's brimming that's coming out. Um, I think I think they got some good stuff lined up. Anyway, what else happened? There was, well, I don't know,
Well,
Trump
Final
and
Shape hit.
Final Shape. Yeah, we'll talk Final Shape. Uh, and our country is in
Oh,
tatters.
good Lord. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it kind of depends, I guess, on how you look at it. On the one hand, you know how it's like sometimes cool when like The Simpsons predict something.
Yes, I do know that.
Yeah. So maybe we're entering a new era where it's cool when Mike Judge predicts things with movies like Idiocracy. I don't know.
I guess, yeah, I guess so. Pretty soon we'll just have like presidents that have like OnlyFans accounts. Like, I woke up today and like Lily Allen has a OnlyFans account. And I
Oh,
was like, what is going on?
yeah, we got elementary school teachers being fired for being drunk and saying dumb shit that goes viral. It's fine.
Anyway, let's move past that. I'm
Thank
gonna st-
God for the internet.
I'm gonna start first today. I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna start first.
Yeah, go nuts.
Because I want you to just talk about all the Destiny after me. Um, so what I've been playing, well, what I'm reading actually right now, which I am enjoying incredibly, is the Jason Schreier book on Blizzard, which is out in October.
Yeah, I'm
I
gonna
got
get that.
Yeah, I got my early copy. It is awesome. So it's kind of like, I mean, it's sort of kind of framed like a tell all about Blizzard, like a dirty takedown or something, but it's really not. Like he gets to that stuff, like all the bad stuff that's kind of happened in the company, but a lot of it is just sort of a chronicle of how Blizzard started and how they got to where they are now.
Right.
And it's a really remarkable story. I mean, outside of the horrible things that have taken place there, but they are quite an incredible company, how what they've done and initially did with so little, and were like bought and sold, almost broke. Diablo almost didn't come out. Um, like all these things that could have happened to them. It's really great. It's an exciting time of game development at that. When they were, you know, just there weren't so many of them, and they were working 7 days a week, 14 hours a day. Um, it's a great book. If you're at all interested in like video game development and what it used to be like and how it got here, I think Blizzard is the perfect encapsulation of that, because the company now they've been through the whole lineage of the industry. They were there when it was young, and they're still here now when it's a very different business. Um, and it's cool to see. It's just cool to read about that. And yes, it talks a lot about the bullying culture within the company, how that's always been part of it, the hazing, all of that. But that's nothing new. Um, but it also sets the record straight on some other things, and I highly recommend checking it out. I am enjoying it. And it kind of cements the idea that I've always had about Blizzard, is that they just see something they like as a team and they're like, we're gonna make that better.
Right.
So like something like Warcraft, the first Warcraft, the RTS games, they played Dune 2 by Westwood, and they were like, we want to do
Mm.
this but in a fantasy setting, and then they made Warcraft. And of course, World of Warcraft, they were playing uh World of Warcraft, they were playing EverQuest,
Yeah.
and they were like, we want to do this but we want to make it better. And that's kind of been their MO, and I think it works for them. They are big nerds who really like video games. They see something they really like in the video games, and they just polish it up. And it's pretty crazy to me too. I think that a lot of the people who started, like the big people who started at the company, are actually still around. Which is not always the case. Once they get bought and
Yeah.
sold so many times, they're usually like canned and moved away, like they're fired. But a lot of the creative direction is done still by Adham, who is like day one guy. So it's cool. Good book. Highly recommend it. Out in October. Um Jason Schreier, like I said, he did Blood, Sweat, and Pixels as well, which is another good video game book. And he writes for, I think, I want to say, this is really bad of me. I'm pretty sure it's Forbes. He's like he's probably like the one like video game journalist that's actually a video game journalist, if that makes any sense. Like he writes about finances and like the state of the industry, and not like, he doesn't write articles that are like 5 clips of this YouTube streamer saying
Right.
funny things, or he's not reporting on Dr. Disrespect, like
Ugh.
talking to him. If there isn't a listen, if there isn't a guy that was like if you were to say to me Dr. Disrespect was sexting with a minor, I would be like, that makes a lot of sense. And it
Yeah. I was
did,
like, yeah.
and it happened.
What
So
else is new? I mean,
oh man. Mm. All right. And then I've been playing a lot of stuff since we last spoke,
Mhm.
but right now I'm playing Citizen Sleeper, which I love, 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 love Citizen Sleeper.
Yeah, I didn't
I
know what that was until I saw your post and I looked it up and I was like, that shit looks awesome.
Yeah, so it was on Game Pass, and I booted it up on Game Pass like half a year ago maybe, and I
Mm-hmm.
was like, this is the game that I want to play on the Switch because it's a text heavy game. It's basically like a tabletop game in a video game form, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of text, you do a lot of reading, your choices, it's like choose your own adventure kind of thing. So it's a lot of reading. And I was like, I'm not gonna do this on my TV. This is
Gotcha.
not the way I want to do this. Um, so the physical copy of Citizen Sleeper came out at the beginning of the month, or beginning of June, sorry. So I got myself a copy. Um, and yeah, I'm obsessed with it. The writing is incredible. Your choices, how they affect the space station that you're on.
Mm-hmm.
It's all feels very natural and organic. There's no real fail state. like so it's kind of cozy in that way where you could like fail a quest line, but it's just sort of like you can go on and do other things and everything's fine. So it has like this cozy atmosphere. So essentially you are a sleeper, which is like not really a person, not really a robot. You are a consciousness that's been put into an AI unit sort of thing. And you just wake up one day on this space station and you are just like thrust into this weird world of, crime and people trying to, get off this place and all that. And you just start, working and earning money and getting involved with people's lives and conspiracies. And it's just great. It's just awesome. I mean, it's just, if you like to read, if you want to read a good sci-fi book that you're taking part of, I highly
Yeah.
recommend it.
Plus, it has an amazing art style too. That's
Yeah.
kind of the thing that when you posted that made me want to look into it because like the art style just looks incredible.
Yeah, very cool. I don't, I mean, maybe I guess kind of cyberpunky. It is and it isn't
Mm.
because it's not like on Earth and it's like on the
Right.
station. So it doesn't really fit that genre exactly, but it has that vibe to it. And there's a lot of like pink and,
But very
um,
much like it very much to me looked like just from the screenshots that I saw, but specifically the cover,
mhm,
very much like almost like a Keith Giffen art piece
sure.
or like
Yeah.
Jeff Darrow,
Hmm.
and I absolutely love that like that hyper detailed kind of realistic art that they do even in a sci-fi setting.
Hmm.
It just really like appeals to me.
Hmm.
And that was like the main thing that I was like, ah, fuck, I want to play that too. Like I have so my backlog is so stupid, but
Well, you can pick
I
up.
get drawn in so many times by the art style or the cover art for something.
Well, you can get the physical copy for 35 bones
Hell yeah.
on. You can't get it on Amazon. I had to get it off of either GameStop or somewhere else. Amazon didn't
Yeah,
have
that
it.
was what happened with the Web of Weird too for me. I had to get
Uh-huh.
it off of GameStop because Amazon had like one person had a listing for it, but it wasn't Amazon or whatever. It was like a third party seller.
Yeah.
He hit it for like $70, and I was like, there's no way that's a $70 game. So GameStop had it, I think, for 40. So,
Ah, there you go.
and that was a pre-order. Like that's I think what it retailed for. So,
Hmm. Hmm. Um, so yeah, I highly recommend Citizen Sleeper if what I just said is a vibe that you want to get into. If you want to vibe with that vibe, I highly recommend it. And there's a sequel planned, and it's been out for a while. It's not like I'm saying anything new, but it just came to physical recently, so that's why I'm bringing it up.
right.
And the second one's been announced, and they have like a teaser for it, and it looks incredible. And the guy
Yeah, I saw
actually
that.
who the creative the director behind all of it, it's probably like a team of like three people, but
Right.
he's on Substack and he has a great
Oh,
Substack.
cool.
Yeah. Uh, and you can buy like the vinyl like of the music, and he has like dice because I forgot to mention it's like your actions are like you get every cycle you get like a certain amount of dice depending on your like hunger level or whatever,
Mm.
and you use the dice to do actions. So it's like, you do like almost like, crit check or something like that. You use it to, if you have a four-sided die, you get a certain amount of die and they all have different numbers on them. And obviously the higher number on the die, the, the obviously the better the outcome of the action. So you save your good die for like important main missions, and then like maybe some of your lesser ones for I don't know gambling or something like that. So
Gotcha.
um, it's fun. And the other thing that I beat recently was Assassin's Creed Mirage, which is
Ah,
a good game. I don't. That game came out and everyone acted like it was like and when I say everyone, like just the internet was so displeased with it.
yeah.
And I played it and I was like, this is a good game. Like it's a coming off of Valhalla, it's a scaled down Assassin's Creed game. Small map, it's basically just the city of Baghdad. Um and it's definitely not it's so your character is Basim, and Basim was in Valhalla. But this
Yeah.
is like his origin story, and they have like a lore reasoning for him not being good at combat is that he's just a babby. Like he's just like, he's just learning how to kill people.
Yeah.
So it doesn't behoove you to like go in swords flying, you know what I mean? Like in Valhalla or something.
Mhm.
The game like is basically like you need to sneak a lot. And that was fun and refreshing. And there you get a lot of like fun little like traps and things you can use to help it out, like smoke bombs and all kinds of things. And the story was pretty good. And it looked beautiful. I got has that Series X upgrade kind of thing.
Yeah.
It kind of mostly runs at 60 frames. It has some dipping issues here and there, but otherwise it looks like smooth as hell. Um, so yeah, if you want to and I got it for like $25. Like I got the physical launch copy that came with like a
Yeah.
booklet and everything. Was like $25. And it's like a 35-hour game, maybe. Uh and it was if you want to remember the days of old of Assassin's Creed, I
Yeah.
recommend
That
it.
that was the thing that kind of for me, that I most knew about that was that I didn't know it was Bassam, but
Mhm.
I just knew that it wasn't going to be like one of the new kind or the open world ones. It was
Yeah.
more like the originals,
Hmm.
which I thought was, an interesting idea to go back to, um, because people were complaining about the new. We don't like the new Assassin's Creed, even though it sells millions every year when it comes out.
Yeah.
And they were like, "All right, bet we'll make this one like the old one." And everybody's like, "This sucks. I hate
Yeah.
this." I'm
This
like,
is
what the fuck do you
this is
want?
boring, yeah.
like,
Can't win, man. I'm excited for the new one too. I think that one looks great.
oh, it looks really cool.
Like
And
to
then
be able I think they did the smart thing where they're like you can play as two different like styles, right? You have the more like Dark Souls, destroy them
mhm,
with the heavy weapons, or you can like sneak around with the other
yeah,
character.
yeah, it's a series that I have historically not had lots of positive things to say about. To be honest,
Hmm.
I played the first one when it first came out, and I was like, I don't know if this is going to be for me. And then
Yeah.
everybody really liked part two, and I was like, this is more of that thing that I'm not sure is for me. And so I played one and two, and then I didn't play another one until three, which sounds like a dumb thing to say, but Ezio, I think, had two other games before the third one
He
where we
did.
got Connor. And I got really hyped for three because I loved the setting,
Sure. Yeah.
Revolutionary War, all that stuff, all those battle scenes they were showing.
Hmm.
And then I spent like 30 hours uh, running through the woods doing nothing but picking up feathers and bullshit. And I was like, "Where are these battle scenes, man? When do we get to?" And I never got to that shit, and I didn't touch another one until Valhalla, which I only played because I had just watched The Northman, and
Hmm.
like I had such a boner for like Vikings and stuff.
Hmm.
I was like, oh, Assassin's Creed, but you're a Viking. I'm just gonna pretend like it's not Assassin's Creed.
That's
And
what it kind of pretends it is too. So you're
right,
good.
right. So I ended up playing like 150 hours of that game.
Yeah.
So
That's a good game, man. Like I said, I don't know if it's a good Assassin's Creed game, but I think it's a very good
it's a
game.
very good game, yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
I'm gonna approach the new one the same way. I'm like, oh, it's a Ghost of Tsushima sequel. Hell yeah, let's go.
yeah, there you go. I mean, they've kind of given up on the like assassin like the meta story in Assassin's
Mm-hmm.
Creed anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought it was kind of cool in Valhalla where they were like digging up the Eivor's bones or something, weren't they like digging up Eivor's
Yeah,
bones in the
yeah, yeah.
that was cool.
There were those
Um
really weird moments, like where there's certain missions you do where you like basically Eivor sees like a glitch in the Matrix, and then like you become like that other character who has to do like a
yes.
jump puzzle or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My favorite one though of any of them was in Black Flag when you would go to the real world or you'd be out of the Animus and it was like first person view and you were like in the Animus offices and it was like a corporate job. Like I thought that was really fun. That was like really interesting and so like this conspiracy's unraveling at work, in between your like going into the Animus and playing as what's his face, the pirate dude. So I thought that was like that I thought that was really clever and they should have done more of like that where you're just like some regular like desk jockey. You're
right.
like pulled
I
into like
did.
this corporate scheming.
Yeah. I that that type of thing, I love that, right? It's like this is a horrible example, but stuff like the other guys or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where like they're just desk cops who are fuck ups, and then you have like the super cops, who, Dwayne Johnson and
Yeah.
Samuel Jackson or whatever.
The
And
B team.
you're right. I love that. Like
Mhm.
seeing these like what's typically like the main story of the movie, but seeing it from the point of view from somebody who just clocked in today, just trying to work 8 hours and go home.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's so good. Yeah, they really should have done more with that, but I don't know. They don't I don't think Ubisoft even knows what to do with all that stuff anymore, so
Oh no.
that's fine. I just want to hang out in feudal Japan as Yusuke
Yeah.
and beat some guys to death with a giant ass sword.
Yep.
So sue me.
Right.
Uh Also I've been playing Elden Ring and getting my ass
Hmm.
handed to me. I haven't played enough of it to really have like a lot to say about it. What I do really love about it, which I haven't felt in a really long time in a video game, is the sense of like awe and discoverability and sort of like getting lost. And
Hmm.
like that game just throws you out into the world and it's just like, all right, figure it out. And you're like, oh man, the training wheels are off, huh? Like I don't think I've felt that way, and this is not exactly an apt comparison, but like since Skyrim, when I first played Skyrim, or maybe even Morrowind, where it felt like the world was there for me, and like you were rewarded for poking around a lot, and it wasn't like you were like guided to all these things all the time. It was just really like a world where it just rewards you for being curious, and I think like that's a fun thing to put, good game design, I guess. So with Elden Ring, like I think, it doesn't, it sort of kind of tells you where you have to go for like the main quest line, but it really just kind of sets you out and you just find things that help you. Like every item you find is helpful, and every dungeon you go into, you will always, if you beat it, you'll always get something that will help you in the next part or the next step. So very much enjoying that aspect. I am getting my ass handed to me though. So
Yeah. I'm, you know, well known to not be a Souls person.
yeah.
The two ones that I've tried are apparently the two hardest ones that you can try.
Which ones
Um,
again?
well, Bloodborne was my
Oh
first
yeah, I like that one.
because I love the aesthetic. I
Yeah.
thought, man, this knights and dragons and shit. Obviously, I've talked about it a billion times. Not my thing.
Mm-hmm.
But you put me in a gothic horror setting where there are werewolves and like all this other shit, I'm in, right? And I thought if I was going to play one, it'd be this one.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm not good at it. So I put maybe 10 hours into it, and I never got past that whatever that first fucking boss on the bridge was. And then
Oh, the cleric beast.
yeah, couldn't beat
Yeah.
him. Yeah, couldn't do it. And then I most of the time I couldn't get past that room with the two werewolves in it before you get to the bridge.
Oh yeah.
Um, and then I tried Sekiro.
Oh,
Uh,
that's real. That one's like really hard.
yeah, so I think I'm done. I don't. And everybody's like, but Elden Ring's the most accessible. I'm like, that does no 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 no.
I don't know about that. Like I feel like I feel like Elden Ring, like they definitely give you like you can opt into a tutorial at the beginning, but so much of the game, then that's just like the mechanics though, because so much of the game is like you just stumble upon stuff and they don't tell you like that you'll get, if you go to this one spot, you'll get summons that you can use in the boss battle. Like nobody tells you that, like
Right,
nobody gives you these like important things. They just kind of happen. And I think it's like I think from the get-go it's accessible in that it teaches you like how to like parry and roll and like all these important things that like if you were to boot up Dark Souls 3, it's just like okay, go.
right.
Um
Well, I think maybe accessible wasn't the right word, but like the open world
mm,
aspect of it lets
mhm,
you have other shit to do if you can't get past one thing.
right. Yes.
So that they were like, you can all if you run into a fight or whatever or an area that you're struggling with, you can go somewhere else.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, yeah, but if everywhere sucks, that doesn't help me. Like I don't like
It's hard, man. It's hard. It's a mean game. It's a mean game.
Right. So I'm like, I'm curious enough that it's one of those things where if I come across it for like $20 or
Uh-huh.
cheaper, I'll probably end up grabbing it and I'll probably never play it. But
Yeah.
if I was,
Yeah, it's and visually it's very remarkable too. I mean
mm,
it's I
oh yeah, it
was
looks great. They all look amazing.
yeah, I would say like the character models aren't super great, but like the world
Hmm.
is very stunning
Oh,
to
yeah, I
me.
love it. It's fun. It's fun to watch. I'm just like I could never do that. When I watch streamers do it, I'm like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
no, that yeah, couldn't do that.
Yeah,
That
it's
that frog that he blasted through would take me out in like 3 seconds, and I'm not even to the boss yet. I'm like, that's it's not happening.
yeah, man, you just be walking all of a sudden this dragon lands and it's just like,
Yeah,
okay, I can't fight this right now.
you're right.
Um yeah, it's pretty funny the shenanigans you get up to in there for sure. Um but yeah, that's it. That's all the that's it. Yeah, and Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, absolutely banger of a JRPG. If you like JRPGs, collecting monsters, demons, I love it. I love it
Mm.
so much. It's a good game. And I'm playing it on the Switch, which has been great. And that's it. So Mitch, hit me with that, hit me with that final pear shape.
Yeah, yeah. Final shape. That his entire. So, I knew we were gonna do Hellblade 2 next, and I also knew that I think from the original time we talked about uh doing the podcast, I was only gonna have maybe a couple of weeks to do Hellblade before Final Shape, and I knew I had to be done because when the Final Shape dropped, it was going to consume my entire life, and it did, and it has for the past month. Um, yeah, it's incredible. It's I go back and forth between whether I think Forsaken or it is my favorite
Oh yeah,
Destiny
Forsaken was
campaign.
really good.
I really, really like that campaign.
Hmm.
Um, this one's also it's right up there with it. They're one and two for sure. I just don't know which one's one and which one's two. Um, I will say from a story standpoint, how bleak everything seemed going into the final shape, and some of the kind of comments that Bungie had made and the things that have been happening in the seasons and stuff like that. It was played safer than I expected. I thought we were going to get like character deaths and
Hmm.
like I thought we might not even win against the witness. Like I thought, you know, this was going to be for God. This is such a tired fucking comparison, but I thought kind of this might be the empire of Destiny. Like I thought,
Ooh.
man, this is going to be super dark.
Hmm.
Um, and it's not. They played it way safer than I expected, but at the same time, man, they just whatever that delay was, if that's what they needed to deliver this, then they should always take that delay. I would so much rather for an experience like this, wait a few months than them have to constantly rush content that feels half-assed because it's an incredible campaign. Prismatic is amazing. The new supers are great for all three classes.
Hmm.
Um, Pale Heart is probably the best um, patrol zone, whatever location they've
Hmm.
ever done. It's amazing. Really like how they have changed how like public events work in a certain way
Hmm.
with what's going on in the Pale Heart. New weapons are really good. I'm still not completely sold on the episodes thing.
What's the episodes thing? Explain that.
That's what's replacing seasons.
Oh, okay.
So instead of a 3 month season, now we get a 4 month what they're calling episode.
Got
Um,
it.
which the idea is that it gives them more time and allows them to do different things instead of just a couple of new game modes. Here's a season pass full of cosmetics. Keep doing the same shit you've been doing. Episodes allow them to do more. Apparent they say it's going to allow them to do more storytelling, delivering different experiences, gameplay experiences, different modes, and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
I think the issue with this very number one that it's the very first one, so they're just kind of stumbling out of the gate a little bit. I feel,
Mm-hmm.
um, but it also released like the week after the final shape, so
Mm-hmm.
obviously they were time was being split between the two things,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like there's definitely potential there going forward for them to put all of their focus on an episode. And then I think that's where we're really going to see whether or not the episodes are going to be better than the seasons.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, listen, if I'm complaining about something in Destiny, just know that I've also been playing it every single day. So
Well,
it's not like it's not like, oh, this sucks, I'm not playing it anymore. It's fantastic. It's just I feel like it's going to take them a little bit to get their stride with this stuff.
sure. So I mean, Final Shape, it's sort of over for like the story. Is that correct? I keep getting this
So,
confused.
so supposedly it was the end of the Light versus Darkness saga.
Okay.
Um, but also that remains to be seen because we still have the Traveler, we still have our powers. That's the other thing I thought. Oh man, we might lose our powers. Like ghosts might go away. Like I was like, this could be like complete game changer. The Vanguard, like they could all die, or
Mm-hmm.
like the Vanguard could like disband. There could not be a Vanguard. Shit like we might just be out on our own with no way to resurrect and shit. And like there was a lot of ways I thought this might go. Um, and yeah, that doesn't seem that a lot really is going to end up changing. We did defeat the Witness. Um, so the darkness, quote unquote, I guess, um, is technically lost, but at the same time, like we learned that while the Traveler, is like the proponent for light, we still have light. The proponent for the darkness, and the name has escaped me at the moment, but it's still there. So, so that it's still out there. It's just going to take another like big bad or whatever to come along and be like, I'm going to use this for evil and shit or whatever, and go
Right.
against the Traveler. For, because the Witness had a major bone to pick with the Traveler. That's kind of the whole how what this all came about to be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so darkness still exists. Just nobody's using it against us currently, and we still have light. So I guess it's the end of that
Mm-hmm.
saga for now. I don't think it certainly didn't do away with either one. So
Right. So these episodes will be like passive content, I guess, or persistent content to.
they're gonna be like basically they're gonna be like self-contained
Mm-hmm.
storylines.
Gotcha.
The one that's going on right now, uh, we're dealing with some. So there were these things called echoes that shot out of the Traveler
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the fight with the Witness. And so that's like kind of currently what the idea is right now is we're following these echoes, which I guess are like pieces of the Traveler, maybe, or they're pieces of light. We don't really know yet.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one we tracked was to Nessus, and so we're right now dealing with of there's some crazy shit going on with the Vex on Nessus, and it's weird the way that these are working because the season would come out and there'd be X amount of steps for every week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Until you played out the story, and the story did not last 3 months. It would last, I don't know, 6 to 8 weeks maybe. Used about half of the season, you finish the story, whatever the story was.
Mm-hmm.
This is like they're done in 3 different acts, and the acts they're not congruent or whatever, right? So it's like Act One ended last week, so this Tuesday at reset until like 2 weeks from now, there's like they brought Iron Banner back, but there's nothing going on with the story
Mm-hmm.
until like July 16th, and then that's going to run for however many weeks, and then Act Three begins August 27th. So it's really sparsed out the way the story is being presented now.
Mm-hmm.
And as someone again who plays daily, I'm not really crazy about that, but at the same time, there was so much to do in the final shape and on the pale heart and secrets and all these other things, and we got this ghost lady who is having you go and find lost ghosts and stuff and bringing them back and all this shit. So there
Nice.
was a lot to do. My concern is that there's not going to be a pale heart every episode, right? There's so what am I going to do for the 3 weeks in between acts one and acts two? Like, what is there going to be for me to do?
Mm-hmm.
Because they took away the the power grind, which was the main thing to do in the game back in the day. They took that away a while ago. So so we don't so your power level doesn't necessarily increase. They do with major expansions, so like Witch Queen,
Mm-hmm.
Final Shape, that type of thing. We're going to get a power increase and some a number is basically just chasing a number. That's going to continue to happen. But for episodes, there's no power increase. So what the fuck am I going to do for 3 weeks until you bring the next act in? That remains to be seen for me.
Right.
Um, but I paid the money for I pay the money for the year's worth of content every year. So I'm at least in for the first 3 episodes. So we'll see, and I'm sure I'll keep going.
All right, cool. I like that. What's the what's the cap on the power level rating now?
Yeah,
Like, is it
soft cap's 1990, and I think hard cap is 2000.
wow.
But then there's also that weird thing where as you level up your seasonal artifact, it adds a number every now and again.
Uh-huh.
So like my gear score right now is I'm just above 1990.
Mhm.
My overall power score though is like my highest is like 2002,
Mm.
and I don't know what any of that means. So I don't know why that matters. I don't know if it matters, but
If
that's
if you were to like jump in cold now, what's the base? Do you know what the base starting power
1900.
level?
Yeah, you start everything. So when Final Shape dropped, every piece of gear you own, every weapon you own, 1900.
Got it. Got it.
And the campaign does a pretty good job of getting you close to 1990.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I was like, I was wondering if they're gonna like reset that stuff or make it something different at this point, but looks like they keep they keep number
Yeah,
go up,
not so far. Yeah, that's it.
number go up. How are those Warlock specials? We get for Danny. Shout out to Danny for working on Warlock specials.
Yeah, the because he did the super and stuff like that.
Yeah, he does like the supers apparently.
That new Warlock super is really dope.
Hmm.
You basically you turn into like almost like a small sun on two legs. You're just fucking. There's just flames going everywhere and shit. Fucking, he's like you're just floating around the arena, like doing your little finger snaps and dropping bombs everywhere and shit, throwing grenades. It's
Man,
pretty dope, man.
what a good class. What
Yeah,
a good class.
yeah,
Cool, dude. And you wrote a nice on your inaugural Substack
yeah.
post is about Destiny and the final shape, which we will link in the Substack post. And give a like and subscribe.
No, please don't, because I don't know if there'll ever be another post. I mean,
Like and subscribe.
come on.
Uh yeah. Make sure to follow all content related to Mitch. Um anything else? You've been playing anything else?
Yeah, I have. I have one other thing, and I'm hoping to finish it today when we get done. Um, but I've been playing Still Wakes the Deep,
Ooh!
and bruh, I have taken so many clips and so many screenshots from this game. Holy shit.
That game looks so good.
It's so good, man. I was
And
very skeptical because when you tell me that you're creating a game that's the thing on a Scottish oil rig in 1977
yeah,
and you have my attention,
but you also have increased criticism coming your way.
right? I'm very skeptical as to whether or not that's what you're going to deliver. But oh, it's so good. First of all, it's terrifying for
Yes,
me.
it seems like it.
Is I am scared shitless of the ocean. Okay. So if you drop me in the middle of the ocean during like storms and stuff, every time I have to look out a window or God forbid I have to go outside and look down, like I'm already nervous. Like, and I'm not there. It's a video game, right? But I'm just looking at it. I'm just like, fuck this. I just want to go back inside. I don't like and then like so basically like yeah, the story starts and you're this guy named Kaz, and you're reading a letter from your wife who's back home, and she's saying, I can't believe you went out there. The girl sent a Christmas card. You better figure this shit out and come home soon or we're done. She's gonna leave you and stuff like that. And so you're reading that and shit, and they're like, "Yo, come to breakfast," and you're like, "All right, fine, whatever." And so you get up and leave, and your boss is screaming for you to come to his office over the intercom and shit. And so basically, you talk to people, whatever, and then you go up and all hell breaks loose after you get done in the boss's office. They're drilling into the ocean, obviously, and they hit something, and the whole like the whole station is like there's these like explosions and shit, and like crazy shit starts to happen, and you end up getting knocked off, and then when you come to, fucking there's like these like weird like psychedelic almost looking tentacles that have grown all around the drill, and
Oh,
like
nice.
yeah, and you kind of you're like, oh, like obviously shit's gone haywire, and you're just kind of walking through like looking for people and like what's going on, trying to figure it out, because you obviously falling off an oil rig is no small thing to come back from, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and it kind of goes from there. You run into people and they're like, oh, well, this is going on, and we can't find so and so and this and that. The first encounter though, and it takes probably almost 2 hours before you get to the first time you see one of the creatures. And I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm not going to say any names. But you have to get from one point to another point, and it requires you to go through like I guess like their room where they have like they do laundry or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And this thing is, it looks like this mass of just skin and flesh with tentacles stuck out of it, and but the upper torso of a human who's
Mm-hmm.
wearing like a hard hat or whatever, and like
Nice.
a safety vest, and it's staring into a dryer, screaming, just slamming the door open and shut over and over again. And it is fucking terrifying. And there's no attacking. It's kind of like Outlast, and like you have a flashlight, and you better fucking hide. Like
Oh
that's it.
man, yeah,
You can
yeah.
hide and you can run. That's all you can do. Or you can pick up like a coffee cup and throw it across the room, and
Oh,
then try to
sure.
sneak. That's most of what the game is, trying to sneak around these motherfuckers, because if
Uh-huh.
they touch you, if they catch you, it's over. And they're like, partially they're like speaking as if they're still human, but at the same time their voice is all distorted, and then they'll start crying but then start laughing. It's so fucking unnerving.
Mm-hmm.
And this poor bastard, man, shit just goes from bad to worse for you like constantly. um it's very, so it's not so much like the thing in that you don't know who is infected and who isn't.
Sure,
It's
sure.
very obvious who's infected.
Right, right.
But such a good game.
Like
It's
a
so fun.
like a Lovecraftian spooky kind of situation,
Yeah,
right?
it felt a lot like Dead Space,
Mm,
but instead of in outer space, you're on an oil rig.
sure.
Like, because the whole like I guess Dead Space, right? The whole thing was they were like drilling or whatever, and or
Yeah,
uncovered that artifact kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Same exact thing, but on in the ocean in Scotland in 1977.
And actually, if you read the Dead Space book, they did find one in the ocean.
Oh,
So,
nice. I have not read. I've read the comic or every comic series, and I've seen the movies, but I didn't read the book.
yeah, what's his name? He's like a horror writer. He wrote one of them. It was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah, that sounds awesome. And I actually, it's so funny. Someone on Substack wrote a review of it yesterday or the day before, and they said it's pretty short. It's like about 6 or so hours.
Yeah.
Um, and it's like a really like streamlined experience. It isn't like you look for like collectibles or anything like that.
No, it's I will say, it's crashed on me a couple times.
Oof.
There are a couple of instances where but I mean it auto saves pretty frequently, but it can be janky a little
Mm-hmm.
bit,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just the atmosphere is so well done. The story is so good. Like none of that has bothered me.
Yeah, and
I just I'm like,
I
oh, it
think
crashed. Let me restart real quick. That's all it is.
Yeah, and I think from what I understand, it's a small team.
Mm,
Oh, the Chinese room did it. Here we go. Oh
yep,
yeah, they
yep,
did Dear Esther. Duh.
yep.
Okay. That yeah, they did Dear Esther. Oh, they did Amnesia, Machine for Pigs for that one.
Oh, okay.
Everyone's gone to the Rapture.
Yeah, I played that. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Okay.
didn't realize it was the same guys. That's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, great. Good for them. Cool, man. Yeah,
I hope it
I gotta
gets.
sit down and just play that,
I really hope it gets a physical. I'm gonna buy it day one if they do a physical for it. I
they
mean, I'm
do
playing it on Game Pass, and it was one of those things where this is one of those things where I bitch about Game Pass, but man, it sometimes it pays off because I'm like, I never heard of this, and then I watched the trailer and I was like, oh my god, that looks incredible.
Mhm.
And then for however I came across it, and then it was like coming soon to Game Pass. I was like, yeah, you do Game Pass, fuck yeah, like
Yeah. Well, I remember seeing trailers for that like over a year ago, I feel like they've
yeah,
been working on it
yeah,
for a while, and
right.
I saw that and I was like, this looks absolutely
I hadn't, so like
terrifying.
I didn't have to wait anywhere near as long as most people. I
Uh,
had to wait like a month.
good for you, man. I'm glad. But yeah, I mean, it just always looks scary. I mean, yeah, well, a drilling rig in the ocean, man, fuck
Hmm.
that. Fucking guys running
I
around
will say,
screaming.
there's a hidden achievement for falling into the ocean from like 5 different places.
Uh-huh.
I got that pretty quick. I'm not gonna
Nice.
lie. Yeah.
On purpose or by
Nope.
accident?
Nope. Didn't know it was an achievement.
All right, buddy. It happens. Happens.
And I screamed every time. Just let you know. Like a little girl.
That's all
Scared the hell out
right.
of me every time I fell.
It's okay, man. I did that. I
And
think I
none of it
did
had anything to do with a monster. It was the traversal.
traversal. I don't know, man. That first Outlast really got me.
Hmm.
That first Outlast really got me good.
Well, I'll tell you, the second one fucked me up, but not in terms of just like the scares, because I knew it. The first time I played Outlast, it was free on the PS4. Never played, didn't know anything about it. Never played
Yes.
anything like it, and yeah, it scared the hell out of me. The second one, that story is so fucking dark and fucked up. I
Yup.
was just like, Jesus Christ,
Yup. And
who
then
comes up
what they
with this
do? Make a
shit?
third one that's like a multiplayer game. What the fuck did they do?
Yeah, the
Trials?
Outlast Trials or something. I haven't played that.
Stupid.
I don't know if that's on console or not. I think it's just PC. I may be wrong.
I don't. Yeah, I don't really know. I kind of when they started talking about trials, I was like, I can't. I'm not listening.
You're right.
This is not what I want this to be.
Right.
Um, it could be a totally fine game, but
It might be, but yeah,
yeah,
I want another fucked up story.
yeah, exactly. Um, should we move into Hellblade?
Yeah, I think so. It's been an hour.
Yeah, we
We got shit for
we
taking so
talked
long
about
to get to
everything but
DMC.
Hellblade for an hour, so I guess it's about time.
Right.
Just kidding. Just kidding. Um, so yeah, we're gonna talk about Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2, which is different than Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice. The titles got me a little fucked up. I had to go back and forth repeatedly in Google search to make sure I was thinking of the right thing. Because it's not like it's not because you would think it'd be Hellblade 2 Senua's Saga, but it's
Right.
all right. Well, thanks, Tameem. Um, so in 2017, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice came out on the PlayStation and PC together. Um, and it was a surprise hit, I guess, is what we'd call it.
Yeah.
Um, it was a game made by 20 people and it was self-funded. And this was all, and we could see this as like Tameem dealing with the industry for years and years and years, being he's quite a creative visionary kind of guy. And I think he got to the point where he was like, we're gonna do it with like, yeah, no people, and we're gonna upfront the costs. And I think, after doing DMC and all of the press circuit for that game, unfortunately for him, uh he was kind of done just and and also doing Enslaved, which also like was a great game that didn't make any money. Then he went to DMC and then they were just yelled at by the internet for 3 years until it came out. Um and kind of pushed around by the bigger publishers or with the Heavenly Sword situation, like Sony just outright bought everything that they created. They can't use it. So they they come about to make Hellblade, which is, you know, for me makes a lot of sense for the first one, right? Like Tameem really loves narrative and he loves motion capture, and that was like that's the two things these games do incredibly well. It is a walking simulator where you push forward. Sometimes there are puzzles to solve, and sometimes there is combat, but the majority of it is moving through a linear world and experiencing a lot of voices and just visually being hit in the face with a lot of things.
Right.
Um, so Tamim kind of saw this series as a historical drama, like with the first one and the second one. With the first one, like Senua is Scottish, but the story takes place not in Scotland, somewhere in
Right.
Scandinavia, um, and revolves around Senua, who is like she has mental illness of some sort, in which she hears voices, and so she kind of banishes herself to the wilderness. She comes back. Her village has been decimated. The love of her life is dead. She had a awful father, and like the game wrestles with that. And at the end of the first game, it kind of like she gets to the point where she's like, "I'm cool with who I am. Girl boss. This is
Right.
just who I am. Let's go." And it kind of like the first one is pretty much like a self-contained story. Like didn't really, I mean, it didn't feel like it, or it doesn't feel like it needed a sequel. Like it kind of felt like it told it,
Yeah.
like it felt very much like Tamim was like, this is the thing I want to say and do, and that was it. Um, so yeah, and I think and it was met with, I mean, critical acclaim, gamer acclaim. Everybody loved it. It was a surprise, visually striking. You know,
It was really, they got a lot of credit for the way they handled the mental stuff. Sound design was incredible.
yeah, the sound design, if you put your headphones on, it's really
Right.
wild. There are whole lectures about Senua at
Hmm.
colleges about mental illness and its effects. Like when they went to make this game, Tamim really got into the science of, Senua and what she's experiencing, and he really sought out to, you know do justice to folks who might not be super well. And I mean, it seems like he did it. I mean, it seems he wasn't canceled for it or anything. And it
Right.
seems like he, with all of the college lectures that there's a whole ass like almost borderline TED talk that's on the internet about cinema. So you can watch that. It's like an hour long thing that they point to clips from the game, and then they go back to someone who understands brains very well and talks about
Right.
it. So it's very cool, very very cool. And it was beloved. Like I said, it was on Sony and PC first. It got ported to everything. The Switch has a version of it, and I was like, okay, I had no idea that this was also on the Switch. So I watched like performance videos of it on the Switch, and
Yeah.
the Switch does what it do, and they somehow pulled it off.
Yeah.
That little machine is just bonkers to me still.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, so it was ported to everything and did very well. And then a sequel was announced. Uh, I want to say like a year later or something. I forget what it was. Or no, what happened was Xbox bought them a year later.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say because I think the sequel. I mean, obviously, when they were bought by Microsoft, it was to make a sequel,
Hmm.
but I think that yeah, the first kind of announcement and the first couple of looks we got at it were like Xbox things.
Yeah. And so yeah, Xbox bought them. They moved the staff up to 100 people from 20 for the sequel. And yeah, it took a while for it to get here, but we got
Mhm.
here. Um and I think, I don't know if that's necessarily completely all, like we had COVID happen, things got kind of wacky for like a year and a half, so things might have kind of just stumbled with their development process, and they had to go all remote or something. And I know a lot of the work that was put into this was like location based too, so there might have been travel issues. Like
Right.
I think there are probably reasons why it took longer than it needed to. With that said, it took a long time for the sequel to come out. This one is starts off and Senua is on a slave ship. She has been she kind of, I guess, enslaved herself in
Yeah,
order
live
to
action captured, yeah.
yeah, in order to find out where the people who had attacked her village in the first game, like where they were coming from.
Hmm.
And it starts with a shipwreck, and then she washes on shore. You are in Iceland, which is it's very visually different than
Yes.
the locations in the first game. Less woodsy, more rocks, a lot more rocks and caves.
Right.
Um, and so you wash up on shore, and then from there it's basically like the first game again, except there are I think the combat's better, and I think the like you have other characters that are around you that like you see Senua interact with more. Like there's two particular characters who
Yeah.
you travel with, and you see their like none of them. I don't say like all of them are besto friendos at all.
No,
No, they got some animosity all towards each other for different reasons, but yet they're kind of set on figuring out this
it's
uh supernatural force, I guess, that's kind of laying waste to Iceland. I sort of kind of, I don't know, right? How would you explain it?
yeah, it's kind of one of those things where like, you know, kind of a I don't want to say word of mouth, but like myth
Right.
lends itself to reality, and whether or not that's actually the case or not, people just believe, like there are these giants who are terrorizing the land, and then you find out, are they really giants? I mean, is
Yeah,
it
it's like unreliable narrators
right?
and yeah, like the game doesn't try to clear that up for you whatsoever. I don't feel like maybe at the end,
Yeah, a little
right?
bit.
A little
Yeah,
bit, but like at the same time, like it's kind of there's a lot of parts in the game that definitely make you question like a lot of and I think as was the first game like makes you question your Senua's reality. What is this a magical creepy place
right,
or is it just Senua being Senua? We don't know.
right.
So,
I
um,
would say that I think the addition of a party, for lack of a better term, I guess, for
mhm,
her, I think I really like the way that um you didn't just because in the first game you just interact with enemies and her and those voices, right? For the most part. And I really liked seeing how other people reacted to her and her decisions and then ultimately, championing her
mhm,
into situations where at first they're like, Jesus Christ, you're a mad woman, right? But
mhm.
then she just keeps winning or whatever, and they're like, holy shit, like they ended up buying into her shit, like all like
Yeah.
she kind of becomes like this hero to these people and stuff like that. I really thought that was interesting. I really enjoyed that part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really effective storytelling when you see like Senua, yeah, now how she has to make decisions with other people in front of her.
Right.
And um like how she's just so badass, I guess. Like
Mm-hmm.
she just kind of is just like she know like she is aware that she has to just do this thing or be with this person because it's like part of it's the right thing to do, and the other part of it is like they need each other for
Right.
this, moment. And like Senua is like a warrior through and through, but she like there is like an empathetic side to her.
Mm-hmm.
And you see those moments, from time to time when she could have easily say, you know, very much killed this one person specifically.
Right.
So
Right. Yes.
yeah. And like, if I was Senua, I was like, I probably would have killed that guy. You know what I mean? Like just out of
Mm-hmm.
just full like just rage and, everything that led up to that moment. That's not to say that I on any day would feel like actually murdering a person. I just feel like in Senua's shoes with with Senua's situation, it just seemed like that
Yeah,
was going to be
yeah, for sure.
the natural step. Um, but yeah, I really, I think the inclusion of characters really helped flesh out that Senua's as a character when she has to, make decisions not just for herself but other people involved.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, obviously, it's like the best looking console video game I've ever seen in my life.
It's the best looking game I've ever played in my life.
It's just it's it is so out. It's so it broke my brain a few times. Like some of
Yeah.
those, like especially those outside vistas.
Yes.
Um, when
Yeah.
you were in Iceland and you're just like, this is what this is
I will tell you,
incredible.
like this game looks so good. Um, this is this is one of the very rare examples where I spent so much time just looking around
Uh
that
huh.
at the end of the game I missed one collectible. Not using the guide, not actively seeking things out. I was just looking around
Mm-hmm.
and I missed one tree. So I had to go back and replay the second chapter for like I had to play like maybe 15 minutes of the second chapter to 100% the game.
Gee. Yeah, the achievements are quite easy on this one. If you're,
Yeah, but still, like I'm typically like, okay, the game wants me to go here, I go here. You
yeah.
know, I collectibles for me is the shit that I'll do once I finish the thing
Uh-huh.
for the most part. And so, because I'm like, all right, I'm gonna pull up a guide and knock the stuff out after I finish. Because my first experience for most times in a game is like, I just want to experience the story and I
Yeah.
get what I get, right?
Yeah.
And if I liked it enough, I'll go back sometimes and if I want to like get an achievement or try to, complete something, or if I just want to go back into the game. But
Mm-hmm.
this game, I spent so much time walking around wanting to see everything that I literally missed one thing.
Yeah, it's I mean everything about the way it looks to there's no feeling like a lot of times with these like photorealistic games and even like playing like Assassin's Creed Mirage, which Ubisoft has a kind of notorious history with facial animations.
Yes.
But there can be like an uncanny like weirdness to them where you're like seeing something trying to be like a person, but it just kind of doesn't hit it right. But with
Right.
this one, it was like unbelievably human to look
Yes.
at. Like everybody's facial expressions are, and if you look up Senua's actress, you're like, yeah, that's really weird.
100%.
Yeah,
And she's so good, by the way. She does such an
she's so
amazing.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but the process, so I said it before, there's like a me problem. But when games are like super photorealistic, like my eyes are kind of fucked that in the way that like I'll be trying to look of where I have to go and I can't tell because everything looks too real and like there's no
Mm.
visual cues and I get kind of lost. And like I have that problem with games that that look like too real, I guess. And that was like a couple of times I was like had a problem where I was like, is this a path or a rock? I don't know what this is. And I felt like I felt dumb a couple of times where I was like trying to actively like do something. So that's on me and video games. I think I think this is fine. I think doing like the body cam video game thing is like too
Yeah.
much. I think that will be like I don't know if I can.
I'm
I think it would just
certainly
make me
intrigued
sick,
by it.
like motion sick. What?
I'm very intrigued by that game.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm intrigued for it to come out and to see other people play it, but I don't think if I can. I don't know if I could play it. I think I'd
Mm.
just be like crippled with like trying to take in like what I'm looking at. I need visual cues.
Yeah.
So yeah, so Hellblade 2 came out to a just the most lukewarm reception and like some downright like negative response to a game that I think is so unjustifiable. Like first of all, Hellblade 2 is essentially Hellblade, the first one, pretty much the same length of a game, but like
Yeah.
I would say better. Like it's essentially like they took what made that game work, they made it better here. Um
I
and
definitely feel that way about it.
right? And like it's not a huge investment of time, it's an experience.
Right.
And yeah, people were like saying it's too short, it's not in 60 frames per second. Like that whole frames per second argument is like the dumbest.
That means nothing to me.
That's such a time wasting thing in my
Right,
opinion because like yes, 60 frames a second in games looks nice in certain games, especially whatever. It's it can look really nice. But like they made this game at 30 because it's supposed to be cinematic. That's why it's also in letterbox and there's no
right,
UI. Like this is like
right.
it was if it was in 60 frames a second, it would be really it was like when we watched The Hobbit in 60 frames, or no, it was 30 frames for a movie. But like when you speed up something that isn't really like the vision of it, it doesn't look right. And that's what Tameem was doing with this one. And like it doesn't matter. Like I don't think it just it's just the frames per second argument is just a dumb argument, and people
Well,
will
it
like
is, but also I think the loudest voices in that argument don't even know what the fuck that means. Like that's the
it's
most
true.
aggravating thing about it to me.
Well, they use it as a benchmark for games quality, which is
Exactly,
it's not the
exactly,
same.
exactly.
It's not the same thing. You wouldn't say um Blasphemous is a bad game because it uses, you know, some sort of form of pixel art and it's
Pixel
dated
art,
looking.
yeah.
Yeah, like it's the experience and if
Modern
it's
like
worth it.
modern retro games is one of my favorite things in the world. And I know that's because I'm old, but I, I I didn't know what I guess it's not that different. I guess from when I was a kid, where it was like, oh, the 8-bit games suck now. We got 16-bit and all that type of shit. Like I didn't know what the fuck that meant. I don't know what the fuck a bit is. I had no
Yeah.
idea, right? But I used to talk about it all the time. So I think
Yeah.
it's probably the same thing, only now it's the internet and
And it's just
kids are,
louder. Yeah.
yeah, it's way louder. Right. There's way more people to give their opinions on things. So I think about it that way, and I'm like, I guess it kind of makes sense, but it's still frustrating to me
Well, yeah, it's frustrating because it takes over the like this the like
because unfortunately,
the
like it could make or
conversation.
break a game. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it could be a game like this. That's an incredible fucking experience that I absolutely loved it.
Hmm.
One of my favorite things that I've played in recent memory, but I didn't know until you just told me. But I guess the reception is not great on it.
Yeah, lots of sevens across the board for
Wow,
ratings, which is
wow.
like, how do you how do
What do you
you how do you objectively look at this game that sets out to do exactly what it's supposed to do, does it like flawlessly, and you
right,
just sort of shrug your shoulders at it?
right,
It's like I don't get it. Like it doesn't try to be anything else. It doesn't try to like, you know, involve these other mechanics that make it fail. It improved on everything that made the first game great, and people are still like, "Eh."
yeah.
But I also think so to me. So uh I'll post in the Substack article the video. There's a video of Tameem talking about the first game. And he's all sitting there in some like club in France or something, and they're interviewing him, and he's got all his rings on, he's got his like hipster hair, shaved side situation going on, looking like Tameem. But he talks about the first game, and he talks about how he didn't want to make a game that was fun, but he wanted to make it a game that was compelling, which I think is like really fair to say. Like when I sat down to play Hellblade 2, I wasn't like, all right, let's go have some fun. Like it wasn't Diablo.
Or yeah, no.
It was like, oh boy, let's see what happens in this chapter. You know what I mean?
This
Like
this is an amazing character. I can't wait to see what happens to her now. Bless her
yes.
heart. Kind
Yeah,
of,
yeah, exactly. Like I hope she's okay. You know what I mean?
right,
Like
exactly. Yeah.
and he did like I think that's like the vision of these two games is not that they're fun, and I think a lot of people like have lost that in the conversation too. Like it's not a fun game to play, they are compelling games to play,
Right.
and um I think the wrong people are inserting like that like a metric of like enjoyment that I don't think is there. Like it's not supposed to be enjoyed in the typical way. It's supposed to be enjoyed like a book, you know? Like you're
Yes.
supposed to spend time with it and think about it, and let it.
Anything that's more necessarily more narrative driven, like that's the main focus.
Hmm.
I think yeah, I mean obviously like we've talked about it, it's gorgeous. But even if it was fucking if it was an 8-bit pixelated modern retro game, I
Yeah.
still would want to play it because it has amazing characters and really compelling a really compelling story to tell.
Yeah.
And that's the point. Like, and it absolutely delivers that.
It delivers that on like on everything they set out to do. Like I don't
Yeah,
see this as like any false advertising. No one
no,
said
not
that
at
this
all.
game was going to be something that no it was no Todd Howardisms. Like there wasn't anything about this game where anyone was led astray as to what it was going or not going to be. So, I also think that it came out at the wrong time, and I think when I say that, I think, Microsoft as a whole, right before this came out, was not looking so great, and the catalog of games
Right,
wasn't looking so strong for the future until like a couple of weeks later we got, the showcase and everyone was like, "Oh, we love them again."
man. What
Like,
if they had dropped it right after that show or the day of that showcase?
yeah, it probably would have done fine. Everyone would have been fine because people treat like people take people take businesses and corporations on like a personal level that I just don't
Mm-hmm.
under fucking stand at all.
I
Like
don't even.
like you're it doesn't like yes, do I like Microsoft as a company? Yeah, sure, absolutely. They've provided a lot of entertainment for me, but my like fucking day to day is not going to be affected by them. Like
Yeah,
they're a corp.
I'm not under any sort of like impression that Microsoft gives a flying fuck what I'm doing.
Yeah, I
Like,
it's like, it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter. Like there are giant money absorbing corporation that like will cut away things that I enjoy because it is to save money or like
yeah.
to invest in something else. Like they do not care. Like they care about making a great product that people enjoy, but they carry at the end of the day, they're looking at the bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't understand why people get so like emotionally attached to corporations like that. How they treat them like people is just beyond me.
Well,
Like,
the console wars and shit. I'm like, like Sony and Microsoft both want you to buy their piece of plastic.
yeah.
That's it. They don't give a shit if you hate the other one. You know, it has nothing to do. They don't
Mm-hmm.
like. It's so important to people that oh PS5 is amazing and Xbox is trash. It's like they're not all that different, guys.
Yeah, they're
It's a piece of
definitely not
plastic
all that different anymore, for sure.
that plays video games. So that's it. So which one, and yeah, I guess technically exclusivity is still a thing, but I think even that's going away. So at the end of the day, what are we arguing about? Like, it's
You're
just stupid.
you're having people like I guess it's a bigger conversation, but like when people like stand corporations or they like,
Mm-hmm.
or they like devalue corporations based on corporate practices and policies. It's like if you didn't like the fact that they donated money somewhere or something like that, you know, believe me, you probably wouldn't like a whole lot of other things they were doing. And like
Right.
this is not like then get rid of your iPhone too, by the way.
Right.
Like you have
Right.
to like you can disagree with how companies decide what to do and that's and everything like that, but to like make it part of your identity to just like despise a court, I don't know, it kind of gets kind of silly to me after a while.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like we're in a consumer based society, and like I am a consumer and I literally spend money for things all the time.
That's all I
um
do.
yeah, anyway, I think it was a I think it's just it came out at a very poor point in the Microsoft narrative when people were really kind of like having a hard
Yeah.
time with them shutting the studios
Right.
down and like the what the future of the catalog would look like for them, and then like a couple of weeks later they're like that was an amazing showcase, man, Microsoft's awesome. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it was a disservice. I think
Also,
to
like it's weird. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you
yeah,
off.
no, go for it.
It's very weird to me as a person who I consume a lot of video game content on YouTube. It's crazy to me the upswing on Xbox all of a sudden, based on that showcase and on the fact that they're closing a digital store
Yeah.
on old console. And now all of a sudden everybody's like, I've been telling you guys for years how great Xbox is. We got to get these games before they go away. And like 360 prices are through they were like $1 last week, and now this shit is through the roof.
Yep.
It's hilarious, like how easily something could be swayed like that.
Man, I know. Just the thing I do, just stay in your lane, enjoy what you want,
Yep.
and just like all that shit's noise. And it like I try to stay away from it, but like unfortunately, just like in this sort of stratosphere we are with technology, you just kind of like osmosis absorb this stuff, and then I get
Yeah.
annoyed.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I think in a vacuum, Hellblade 2 would have done incredibly well,
Mhm.
and I think there are some numbers too that I can't I don't have in front of me about like how many people like didn't finish it and like it didn't like get as many
Oh,
downloads. But
that
like
was one of the that was one of the I mentioned earlier seeing the ass hats on Twitter, you
mhm,
know, shit talking the game. And this one guy, I'm not gonna say his name, he's a YouTuber. He uh he used to he stand the Xbox One so hard.
mhm,
And he just shit on the PS4 constantly. And he always has like these numbers and projections and this and that. And he's like, oh, I ended up giving my PS4 to my stepdad because it was just collecting dust. But now he's completely flipped and he's all in on Sony, and all he does is shit talk Microsoft. And he was like, 1 week out, and here's the average daily player base for Hellblade 2. And I'm just like,
yeah, like that stuff is just so dumb. Like it doesn't
yes,
it
it does
doesn't
it doesn't speak whatsoever to the quality of the game. Okay,
yeah.
first of all, it released on Game Pass, so anybody who wanted it could get it day one, and you're talking about it weeks later. And then second of all, it's a single player only experience that's
Mhm.
maybe 6 hours.
Right.
Most people were done with it in the first couple of days, maybe the first week, right? And
Right.
here you are a month out acting like it was supposed to compete with fucking Call of Duty or something. Like it's just like what it
Well,
doesn't
he
even say
might maybe he's going to come back to Microsoft now that we're going to get Black Ops whatever 25
right, right.
for day
I'm like,
one.
what are you even talking about? Like, like what? You thought people like 4 month or 4 weeks into Hellblade 2 that it was going to be competing with COD or like whatever else. Like, no, that was never the intention. That's not this game's purpose.
I think that's also really confusing to me is that people think that every game that comes out is direct competition with the type of game
Right,
like it's not a one-to-one comparison. Like
right,
these are
exactly.
different audiences, different experiences, and also expectations. Like I don't actually know how well Hellblade 2 like it seems like people were down on it, but at the same time, like maybe Microsoft met their expectations for it. Like maybe they were
I
like,
mean, they greenlit a third one, so it
yeah.
obviously they weren't disappointed with it.
Yeah, I
So
mean, to meme's like we're going on in third for a third project, so I was like, oh, like that's good. I'm glad they keep giving him
hell
money. I
yeah,
mean, it could be a contract too, for all we know, but
yeah, it could be. I don't know. I really don't pay attention to that stuff. I was like,
yeah,
Hellblade 3, fuck yeah, let me have it.
yeah. I'll
You know,
play it. I'll play it. I'll play it third. I'll play another 6 hour compelling but not fun game for sure.
yeah, yeah.
Also, Tameem is he right around the time Senua came out or the first one came out. Just so you know, he's a big fan of What Remains of Edith Finch,
Mm,
so that makes a lot of sense.
so am I.
Yeah, that's a great game. But
Oh, that's
he
a
probably
fantastic game.
I bet you Tameem's playing Still Wake the Deep right now
He probably is.
with his
I'm
rings
gonna be as soon
on.
as we're done.
Yeah, he's playing with his rings and his leather jacket on,
Hell yeah.
smoking French cigarettes.
God,
I can't wait to
so
post that video.
innocent.
He's such a character. I love him.
I wish I had bought that game physically when I had the chance because now it's expensive. But
Is it?
yeah, and I was late to the party on it. I forget why. I forget. I don't remember if I got it as like um for PS like PSN Plus or whatever, or if it was like cheap and I picked. I can't remember why I even eventually played it the first time, but I it completely blew me away. I could not stop talking about that game for years. I've been telling like anybody like
Yeah, play it.
played it, you gotta play it. Like, it was so good. I have it on the Switch and I have it on the I know the PS4 is where I played it the first time, but
Mhm.
I think Limited Run ended up doing the physical. So obviously, if you didn't get it right away,
Yeah.
then now it's expensive. But I would love to buy a physical copy of that game.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so pleasantly surprised it plays well on the Switch. That's great.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure it obviously, I mean, it looks like it obviously takes some visual hits and stuff, but I mean, it like
right.
it does the thing for if you only had a Switch, you know?
Yeah, I played it actually both times, not that far apart, and yeah, I didn't. I mean, yeah, Switch is a Switch, but I was like, this isn't that much different. So,
Mm-hmm. Experience is the same, man. Just gotta listen
yep,
to the voices in your head.
still had a fucking great time. So,
Yeah, gotta fight those. Gotta line up the fucking symbols. You know what we gotta do. You know what game this is. You know what Senna was all about.
right,
Going through them portals.
yep,
Um, yeah, that's all I got on Hellblade 2. I think it's awesome. I think if you like the first one, you'll like this one. If you didn't like the first one, you will not like this one. And
right.
if you're curious, I would say, I mean, I think the first Hellblade's on Game Pass too. I don't know. If you're curious, I don't know if you'd start here. I feel like it really you should really
Um,
start with the first one.
I think you, I think you definitely should, but I still think you could just play two. I mean,
Yeah,
it tells its own
yeah,
story.
yeah.
She does kind of like talk about the first game and what happened.
Oh
So,
yeah, there is a bit of a recap at the beginning. So yeah, play the
right.
second
So
one.
if you're just interested in, kind of how did we get here, it does that. I definitely would say it's worth experiencing the first game. I mean, like I said, I bought when it hit physical, I bought it on Xbox because I played it on PS4 first, um, this one lets you know kind of what happened. So if you're
I
just
wonder
curious about two,
I wonder if Limited Run will do a disc for this one.
well, so Limited Run did Edith Finch. So the first Hellblade, um, I I think Microsoft put it out on
Um,
because that's where I bought it. Uh, After I played it on PS4, I bought it on Xbox. Um, I hope they do a physical on this,
mm-hmm.
but I think this one's more likely to have to come from Xbox versus something like Alan Wake because like
Yeah,
that was kind of a multi thing. So
yeah,
I hope
yeah.
they do. I'll buy it day one. And I'll play it again. Like I really enjoyed this game. I
Yeah.
really liked the whole giants. I think they looked fucking incredible.
Oh
Like
yeah, and like there's I forgot to even talk about that. Like there's like these really great set pieces with the Giants
yeah,
that are just I would say that's like the most thrilling part for me of the game.
yep,
Those sections are very thrilling, and I kind of wish there was like more of that kind of stuff in it if I had any criticism. But like
yeah,
especially at there's like a lava one, and that shit was
yeah.
so good.
That was so good. But also like I think I know we're kind of winding down, but man, even just we talked about the locations and how it looks, but even the atmosphere, man. I was fucking scared shitless of the Draugr.
Spooky.
Yeah,
Spooky.
like even the Draugr. I was just like, there were times when you were walking through caves and like, following these little like weird light fairy things or whatever.
Hmm.
And she's like, they're right behind you. You can hear them. They look at you. And I was
Yeah.
like, no,
No,
run.
run. Yeah, you got the gross dudes that would come and try to kill you. Ugh.
Fucking the cannibals and shit. Like
Oh my god,
oh my
man.
god, dude. Like the atmosphere of this game was just, it was like peak, like horror video game for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say like if you like horror stuff, like this is the bag, man. Like
Yeah.
this is
Yep.
your bag, like for
Yep.
sure. Like it is a horror experience in my opinion.
100%.
Um, folklorish horror, something.
Yep. Oh, yeah, I love it. That
Yep,
fucking
it's like
who
black
was it?
metal,
Yes.
a little
Uh,
like
what was that? Who did that? Oh, that box set, that folk horror box set.
Oh, somebody did a full core box set.
Yes, uh, something dark and Days Bewitched or something like that.
Uh huh.
It was, I think it was Severin, maybe. It was very expensive,
Oh.
um, but just a absolutely beautiful box. There's something like I don't know, like 40 films in it between like features and Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched. That's the name of it.
Oh,
It's a
would.
full length documentary that's on Shutter, but also there's a box set that has the doc and then like a lot of the films that they talked about, and it's like this
Huh?
really nice box. It was very expensive, but very worth it.
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah, it was Severin. Looking it up now. Here.
That is actually that's a great comparison. Actually, this is very much a Viking Norwegian kind of folk horror.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, I was gonna say if it had Witchfinder's General in it, and this
yep.
definitely does. Oh, this is cool, man.
Uh, it's a great doc too, but I mean, it's on Shutter if you have Shutter. It's well worth
Nice.
watching.
Cool, cool, cool. I have to check that out. Um, yeah. Uh, for the next game, I don't know. I was wondering, Mitch, if you wanted to pick something. I'm always picking things, and I got to the Ninja Theory climax here, so I
Well,
don't know if
I sort of picked Enslaved because I never played
I
it,
get. But we had
but
played. But didn't we play something? Did we play something else in Ninja Theory before
I
Enslaved?
think we did. But well, that was the thing. Like, I was like, hey, this game Enslaved, I never played it. And you're like, that's Ninja Theory. I was like, fuck yeah, let's do that then. Because I didn't
Uh,
realize it was the same same developers. That's how smart I am.
what is time? I don't know what we've
Yeah, right.
played, talked about it. This once I upload this, I don't even remember playing the game.
um, I mean, I don't know. I kind of like having the catalyst of us doing the show, and you haven't picked something for me to play or replay or whatever because
Hmm.
you know me, I'll just keep playing Destiny.
Sure. I didn't
But
know
I
if there
will.
was. I don't know if there's something like you were like. I mean, I got Lords of Shadow too. I think we could. That's one we could do because we did the
I
first
have that.
one.
Yep. Yep.
Um, and Lords of Shadow is our highest listened to
Really?
podcast. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Like,
that's like it's like just so far and above any other one.
really? Oh, I'm so disappointed. I'm so disappointed in people in our Spec Ops episode.
Yeah, I know. It's all right. These things come they come full circle. They'll see. They'll see. Just you
Right?
wait. Like,
I don't know. You know what? I'll look. I'll text you. I'll look
okay,
through.
yeah, you text me if there's
I'll look through the
something.
collection and see if there's something that I've always been meaning to play and never did.
Right.
To
Because
see. If there's-
well, we are technically it would have been our July pick. So maybe the last week of July we should do another one of these because this was supposed to be end of June,
Yeah, that was
but
my fault. Yeah.
no, that's all good. And then so last week of July will be our July pick. So if you think of something, I have
Yeah.
some things in the chamber that I think we could do, but I'd also like to let you pick. I also so then August is coming. Pretty soon we're gonna have to get back to Gears. So
Yep.
we're gonna be doing that soon. So we're gonna be playing through the other three Gears games. So um so we gotta get ready for Gears of Fall Part 2. And then also I want to do Blair
Oof.
Witch. I want to do Blair Witch. That'll be fun.
I would love to do that. I just bought a physical copy of that. It's starting to go up in price, so I was like, fuck.
Oh, good thing I got mine when I did.
Yeah, I wanted it on Xbox, but I couldn't find it, and everybody online was selling it for more than I really wanted to pay for it. So
Hmm.
I got a PS4 copy, but I bought it digitally on Xbox day one. So
Nice.
I would like to replay that game though.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. Maybe to break up uh uh the Phoenix Eye. Um, well, cool. Thank you everyone for continuing to spend almost 2 hours of your time listening. I appreciate all of you. And that's thank you, Mitch. Follow Mitch on the internets. Follow Substack. I'll link it in the notes. And be safe on your holiday weekend. Don't go to the emergency room, please. Be careful. And
or do because it keeps some of us in a job. So
That's true. Or if you do get hurt, do go to the emergency room. I'm not saying
yeah,
don't go to it if you get hurt. What I'm saying is it's best if you don't do anything stupid and
yeah,
you
be
have to have,
safe. But if you're
yeah,
not, seek medical attention.
immediately. Yes. Missing fingers.
We
Hoorah.
got you.
We got you and your missing fingers. Um, that's it, man. I think. Do you have anything you want to close out saying?
No, just thanks again for having me on. I had a great,
Word.
great time talking about Hellblade with you, and thank you for always putting in the legwork to point out things that I don't pay attention to, like how the game was received and whether or not that type of stuff is interesting to me, but not so much so that I'm going to actually do the work to find out. So yeah, appreciate you.
I appreciate you, Mitch. We'll be back at the end of July to talk about BMX Triple X. That's what we're gonna do next.
Oh man, hell yeah,
Oh, I saw Limited Runs doing Lollipop Chainsaw, so that's pretty
they
cool.
are. I pre-ordered something else though, so I didn't do Clock Tower, and
Oh
then
yeah.
they fucking got me again Friday when they dropped the Ninja 5.0.
Oh yeah, Ninja 5.0,
So
baby.
I got to get it. So
Yeah, Lollipop Chainsaw goes on pre-order at the end, like in a couple of weeks.
yeah,
And it's like it's like a, I don't know. I guess it's like a remastered version or something
it
of it.
is. But I have the originals, and I was like, so I didn't buy that one, but
Yeah, I mean the game
only
is
because
so-so.
yeah, yeah.
Eh,
I just like I said, just I had already recently pre-ordered something else, and then I was like, well, I'm not gonna do that one, and then fucking like 2 weeks later they got me again. But I've never played Ninja 5.0, so that was my making that one okay.
Nice. Also, they're doing the Beyond Good and Evil
Uh-huh.
20th anniversary edition, which I already
Hmm.
own the HD version
Yeah,
on
I do too. Yeah,
on the 360, but I was like,
yep,
yeah, I'll probably get this one too and play it on this. I feel like it'd be really fun to play on the Switch. So
yeah, nice. Yep,
it's a good game. All right.
it is very good game.
Um, all right. Well, thank y'all and see you on the flippity flip.